Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 16, I believe, of the Trainer Feed. Today we have a very special guest, a physical therapist by the name of Cliff. But before we get into the actual podcast, let's do a catch up. How are you guys doing?
Good. Hanging in there. It's discussing outside. But other than that, it's all right. I had my dad's birthday was yesterday, so we chilled over there.
Oh, cumpleaños feliz.
Dad's getting fucking old, bro.
You got him another Barcelona shirt?
No, I got him these. They got him off of Amazon. Me and my brother got him a couple of things. We got him this little organizer, so he could put his iPad and his keys and his watch and stuff for his like nightstand. And then we both got him a tablet because he needs it for work. I know with old Hispanic people, they really don't know how to use that shit. So it's like they're like tapping the fucking term. Like, wait, like give it a couple of seconds. And my dad's aggressive. Like, he's heavy-handed, and he's like, it's not working. Anyway, so we got him that, and it's coincidentally the day that his original one got fucked up. Like, he left his tablet in the car with the heat. The fucking battery blew up like a fucking balloon.
Wow.
And it was done. I mean, it still worked, but it was just like it was
Barely, I bet.
Fucked up.
Tostado.
And then, we gave him the gift, and he's like, oh, shit. He's like, what the fuck? And then he's like, to my mom, you fucking knew. And then she's like, no, I didn't. And then I got him these, like, slippers you could wear around the house and stuff. So,
Cool.
Nice. Cool. Doing all good here. Nothing really new to report. Like you said, David, it's like fucking nasty outside right now. Try not to get caught in it too much. You guys ever watched Hunters, the Amazon TV show?
No.
Damn, that shit's wild.
That's the one with Al Pacino?
Al Pacino, yeah.
I started seeing it.
is it good?
Yeah,
I
it's
need a new
fucking
show.
crazy. It's like everyone's been telling me, and clients included, have been telling me for so long. I'm like, yeah. Here's a funny thing, right? We have Netflix, Hulu,
I better laugh, bro.
all that stuff, right? So we have two TVs. We have one in the living room, one in the bedroom. And we have an Amazon account in the bedroom. Now, I'm telling you this for a reason, right? So I don't really know why. I don't know how to get back in. It's whatever. So we use it. So I'm like, it must be Alex's brother's user, right? It's not. So we don't know whose user it is, but we have the account. So
It's probably an ex's account.
who?
An ex's account.
Dude, it's her TV, so I don't know. But anyway, it's like,
who cares, bro? It's
I don't give a fuck.
Free TV, bro.
Free Amazon TV, right? So, and then that's about it, honestly. I know I was talking to Angel about like ordering more kettlebells. I'm either going to order another 28 or a 32 kilo, but I'm also going to invest in a mace and some rings as well. So
you're trying to be on your Georgine Russell
Uses
flow.
a mace once.
dude,
Yeah,
that shit's
this
hard. I thought it was going to smash out my coccyx bone.
This guy said he was going to take a rest day, and then you see him on Instagram
There's
swimming
no
around
fucking
mace
beach.
on the
we
beach.
moved.
No
for like-
invite. He's like, fuck the trainer feed.
Get out of here. We moved for like 2 minutes and like, no, my body's all banged up right now. So like you guys point out, I just like take it easy. So I'm going to kind of like, little.
Oh, you're actually going to take it easy, Jack?
Today's my day off. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
See. I just got a 28 kilo in.
You're getting them in
like 2 minutes
fast.
ago.
Yeah,
but
you're getting them in within a week. So
I think I ordered it on Monday, and the shit just came in. So shout out to Rogue.
If I get any more bells, I'm going to fucking make a hole through my fucking floor.
I want to see
Yeah, me too.
My neighbor's like, ¿qué pasa? And
that. Something like my Spanish attempt. Ay, ¿qué pasa? Angel, you good?
Yeah, everything's good over here. Went on a little hiking trip. Went up to Lake George. Lake George was fun. It was.
How was it?
Very nice. It was a nice place to visit. We did parasailing for the first time, and we did some hiking.
And you didn't drown, which is good.
No, I was over the lake, but I didn't actually touch the water. All right. So let's get into it. So without further ado, I want to introduce our guest today. Our guest today is Clifford Yun. He is a physical therapist working out of Brill Physical Therapy. Since the quarantine, everything's been kind of put on hold because it's not the stage where you can open up physical therapy clinics right now. But we met at Alta Physical Therapy quite a while ago. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Cliff. Hey, Cliff, can you hear us?
He's muted.
Oh, wait, hang on.
All right.
Hey.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
How you doing?
All
Hey, how
right.
you doing, brother?
There we go.
All right, here we go.
Locked
Here
in.
we go.
Awesome. So, guys, this is Clifford Yun. He works out of.
That's me, man.
Yeah, he works out of a physical therapy clinic, and obviously because of the whole COVID thing, it's been a little bit difficult to kind of like continue to treat and see patients. But he's been making the best out of his situation right now. We'll just go into the questions because I do want to respect your time. I know you got a very busy day ahead of you. But let's start with the first one. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into physical therapy as a profession?
Sure. I'm from New York, born and raised in Queens. Went to Seton Hall for school. Got into PT kind of on a career discovery path when I was in undergrad. I was doing the whole pre-med thing. Got to a point where I think it was a common thought when people go into pre-med, they get to one course and they're just like, do I care enough to keep doing this course? And that's when I decided, like, you know what, I got to find something else to do. Just so happened my grandmother at the time was in the hospital having surgery, saw PT. I was like, I can do that. I like fitness. I like being together with people. Also, I just heard the industry was changing. It wasn't this kind of one-on-one thing anymore as far as MDs are considered. So I started doing that. I was like, okay, PT is more one-on-one. You could see someone more personally. So, yeah, I did the work. I found my own internships just to figure out if PT was cool and didn't look back, and been there ever since.
That's awesome. How long ago was that?
That was back, graduated PT school in 2009.
Oh, wow. Wow. So that was really at the cusp, like when everything just started to change and people started kind of like
Right.
looking into the sciences a little bit more, figuring out how their body was moving, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So I had a couple of questions. I know the guys have some questions as well. Mine was like based off of some of the stuff I've been looking at Perform Better. So for the past like couple of weeks, Perform Better has been giving these like free, it was supposed to be like a substitute for the Perform Better Summit because they couldn't host it. So I've been looking at a lot of people, including like Stuart McGill, Cosgrove, and trying to understand like a lot about like pain and managing pain and understanding pain, and if I had the right understanding of pain to begin with. But with that said, I wanted to know from your experience, how does pain differ, and does a certain type of pain necessarily mean it's from a certain thing, or for example, like hot and cold sensation being a nerve issue? Because
Sure.
we're always told, like, when we hear the word pain come from our clients' mouths, it's like, refer out, and then that's it. Like, don't even talk to them any further. Yeah, exactly. Almost
outta here.
act as if you don't have pain yourself.
I don't fucking touch you. Get out
Yeah,
of here.
right.
Yeah. No, yeah. So that's a great question, and it's a loaded question too, obviously, because you can't touch the internet with the query of I've got pain without like 10 billion things coming up, and usually WebMD comes up and suddenly you have cancer.
Yeah.
So you really
Sure.
you really got to question these
You fucking
things,
stub your toe, you got cancer.
Yeah,
That's just
exactly.
basically it.
Exactly. Well, nowadays it's more like you have COVID, and it's like,
Oh my
you
God.
may not,
Oh my
that's the end the balance care and all that. But
Yeah.
pain is a huge subject matter, right? And so when we think about pain is really you can't really say as a whole to overgeneralize it. I don't want to overgeneralize it. So if someone says my shoulder hurts, it's like, oh, and it feels like it's sharp, right? And usually, I want to use that word specifically because we have correlating factors and we have like actual truths, right? So meaning I correlate, that a sharp pain tends to be in relation to, if you're just sitting there and you have a sharp pain when you move, it tends to be if it's deep, and then we're thinking about more of like this joint pain, this bony pain, right? But if it's a sharp pain that's more superficial, then you're thinking, well, what else happens, right? Is it sharp and then it radiates down your arm? Well, maybe this is more related to a nervous thing or a muscular thing. And these are kind of like the checklist things that as a therapist we kind of think about. So pain in and of itself can't be strictly defined as that. Although we do use these as ways to kind of factor through, so to speak, a checklist. Like, well, that tends to fit in this subcategory of pain and this type of injury, and this is this type of injury, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that the question is more about talking about, if you're looking at pain, looking at the bigger picture and asking about where is that pain coming from, where did it start, take that history. As trainers yourselves, as much as the legal guys up in the office are saying, listen, they said pain, that tells you to say stop, do everything. Honestly, in my perspective, you guys have a phenomenal range of experience. It's just the normal compassionate thing to do. Have a general discussion. Mm-hmm. Okay, when did the pain start? How long have you been having it? Is it constant? Is it only when you do this one thing and it just started? Right? And these things will be like, well, then maybe this isn't an acute thing that'll go away with rest. I'm going to avoid that area. I'm going to go on with this. Or like, this is constant. I can't move my arm. It's like, well, you can't move your arm. What are you doing here today? As a trainer, like, you should probably be around. Use common sense in that aspect. But pain in and of itself can be so kind of grandiose, and maybe as a good example of this is that like I've had a patient where like you have them come in and they have, let's say, a foot ankle injury, right? And they have this achy foot, and they're like, look, I can't walk on my foot. I can't walk on my foot. I've been trying to do A, B, C, and D for it, and it's still not going away. And everything in the normal sense pans out as far as like their strength. Like their strength is there. I can push their foot around and doesn't seem to be a problem. But every time this person puts their foot down and puts weight into their foot, there's large amounts of pain, and it doesn't make any sense in the normal aspect of, is this strength or weakness issue, right? But then if you delve deeper into their pain, I find out that this person has been in a boot 3 times in this last year. This person has had a surgery, years ago. So now we have this multi-layered story of why this person isn't walking. And then now you're thinking, well, pain is now different. Pain is the human response, right? And that history of that response, and now this person is in that fight or flight mode, they're guarding, and their pain is a response to that history. And that's what their pain is. And that's their signal for pain, is the experience of putting their foot on the floor and using it. And now pain is not simply, pain is your muscle or your bone, it's the experience. And that's the pain. Right.
That's interesting, because that's really interesting, because a lot of clients, like, especially like sometimes even when you start out with somebody, it's like you have to distinguish between what muscle fatigue is, or like soreness is, and then pain, because a lot of people will just like come out and say, oh my God, this hurts. It's like, what does that mean?
Level?
Yeah. Well, like, is it like the muscle, like you feel the muscle working? Is it like you feel like it's about to fall off, like you can't use your arm? Like, what's going on? Like, so I guess going deeper, like you do have to almost analyze it a little bit differently, and just for each and every person understanding at least that the idea of pain is different. And then also getting the history is a huge part of what we do in the fitness and the health industry.
Something quick, Angel. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt. This is going to leave my mind if I don't ask it right now. Then I'm going to get really fucking annoyed at myself. When I've always heard, or less with clients of mine, and even when I've had my own injuries in the past, and I've talked to PTs and my own coach and stuff like that, and there are different answers to when they would say, hey, if something hurts, let's say I hurt my hip or I hurt my knee, and I'm doing something after weeks of resting, right? And it's relatively painless now, but when I'm doing a certain exercise, let's say a leg extension or, band the leg extension or anything, they would say, listen, it will be painful to some extent, especially if you're trying to get back to it, right? I mean, like, for example, you don't want to completely stop everything just because it hurts. You know, you may need to work through it. Is that something that you come across? Is that something you've heard in the past?
Yeah. And this is, you know, this kind of goes back to that example of mine where like this person has a fear of putting their foot down, right? And my response to that is that, yeah, you have to do it because now, without, you know, this is a huge discussion of pain. Let's look at pain. The simplest way that I explain is that, so now you have the scenario that you said, a hip pain, right? And every time I do this one particular movement, it always happens, but I don't want to do it because it hurts. Why am I doing it? We know that if you're cleared to do it, we don't see any major joint issue for you to do it, then that means that you have to be able to approach that pain now. So picture pain as if it's an alarm clock, right? And we have that horrible scale of 0 to 10, and 10 being I'm going to the hospital, right? So now if that alarm clock is always ringing off every time you do a motion, right? And you can repeatedly do that motion, you have this history of doing the motion. Now that alarm clock gets set off a whole lot sooner than it needs to go off, because now you're any single thought of it, motion to it, that alarm goes off, even though it makes no sense, you know, in the bigger scheme of things. So you're oversensitized to it, and that's why you do it. But the second you are approached with that pain and you go into it and you find little bits of motion and mobility and movement into that area of movement that has less pain, then you will find that alarm clock isn't as easily set off. It's not as sensitive. And that's why we say, yeah, you have to go into it. You have to approach it. It's like the athlete that just went after surgery and they don't want to go to the field. They don't want to do anything. You know, they got shell shocked from their injury, ACL, whatnot, and they don't know what to do. And my advice is you got to go out there. I can't have you here for 3 years on your ACL injury, right?
Suck it up.
It's 11 months out and you haven't even touched the grass. Get out there, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and that's the reality of it, right?
Yeah, and that could also be scary. So getting them, and I guess the more you wait, the scarier it is, right? So you do have to get out there, and you do have
more
to
foreign it feels.
Yeah,
The less,
yeah. And then also, like, you just fear being in the outside world, right? Because a lot of physical therapy clinics, it's a very controlled environment, right? You don't have people charging you or rushing you at different angles, so you don't have to move out of the way, right? So it's kind of like you see the safety not only like when you're in that controlled environment, and then now all of a sudden you spent like 3 months in a controlled environment, and now you're going to go out there having the injury and seeing how devastating it was, and then now everything just looks scary to you. Even like, you know, jaywalking, you know, which jaywalking is unsafe, but jaywalking seems more unsafe. But all right,
you're gonna get hip checked by an old lady on the street.
You can.
No, it's a great point because so yeah, like you're right. The PT world, we have, especially in New York, we have these tiny clinics, and it's up to the therapist to be able to expose as many things as we can within that environment and think more outside the box when we're in that environment. So like the ACL person, I have them doing cutting drills in a small space because guess what? That's what they're going to be doing anyway, right? But it's still not the grass, it's still not the field, it's still not the court that they're on. So then I tell them, I want you to go run on your court, just jog. You're not doing full out this or that. I want you to just shoot the ball around on the court, play some horse. You know, I don't want you to play full on anything yet. You know, and then they just gradually expose them to that. And then when they have trainers and when they have other, you know, staff, athletic trainers, I tell them, look, this is where we're at, and they're at the Garden State, but I just need you to progress as tolerated, you know? Yeah, it's a normal mindset, due diligence, obviously, and always constantly check in. How do you feel? What does it feel like? Are you good with this? You know, and you take it as that.
Yeah. Cool. So my next question, similar to pain, but a little bit different, talking about spinal alignment. So I recently heard Dr. Stuart McGill talk about his relationship, or the relationship between breathing and spinal alignment. With your knowledge, what is the relationship between the two, if there is any? And then do you have any strategies for how the average gym goer can use breath work or other breathing strategies in order to maintain alignment?
Sure. Yeah, that's absolutely, there's an absolute relationship. And over the last X amount of years, that's really been the leading thing whenever you hear about posture, core engagement. breathing is a part of it, and there's an absolute anatomical fact there, because we got the diaphragm in the rib cage. It's going down around to the spine and into the pelvis. I mean, you can't look at any other type of all-encompassing thing that's taking up a good section of your body from your rib cage to your pelvis. So yes, breathing is as a direct factor to your core strength. I think what we're finding, and if you listen into yoga, Pilates, all these things that are widely understood as good core exercise, the breathing is important in the sense that we need to be able to control the belly. So what I suggest is that I think everyone should really be warming up their breathing pattern, right? If you took out 1 minute before you did all your exercise, or even a minute between your sets, to reset your breathing, you'd probably be able to activate your core more effectively. I equate it to kind of turning on all the systems before a rocket goes off into space, right? If all systems aren't go, that rocket's going to hit the floor,
Right.
So we want to have all systems go. And my exercise that I like to give out is that we're just practicing breathing, meaning you could be lying down, or you could be seated, or you could be standing, depending on how good your posture is. And you're in this alignment where your pubic bone, your belly button, your sternum, your chin is all stacked up on top of each other. And you're thinking about just gradual inhale. It's not a forceful like type of inhale, but a nice gradual inhale. And you're visualizing, and this is important, visualizing that the rib cage is opening up. And the rib cage opens up out nice and laterally, like an umbrella, and not just kind of upward where it's kind of like you're pushing your chest out toward and upward. No, you want that rib cage to open up laterally and opening up like an umbrella. So if you expand nice and gradually and feel all that tension, and then during your exhale, if you pull that belly button in and maintain that lengthen, maintain that position of posture, and slowly exhale, now you've got this bracing that you can't avoid. You feel this tension of the diaphragm, of the rib cage, of all your back muscles, and there you go. That took less than 30 seconds for you to really think about that. And if you did that, 4 breaths, take 4 deep breaths for me and think about engaging your body, and then go do the exercise.
Yeah.
Right? And it's much like a lot of exercise. If we focused on quality over quantity, then we'd be out of injury. So if we focus on the quality of breathing, activate all the breathing, then think about the exercise and do the exercise, people would be more likely out of pain, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting you say that. And I didn't highlight this before, but you're a Schroth specialist, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And can you tell, I don't want to take too much of your time for the segue, but can you take a little bit of time to kind of let the listeners know what Schroth therapy is? And then also
Sure.
I'll get back into how breathing is very impactful for the client and the gym goer.
Right. Schroth therapy is about treating scoliosis. It originated in Germany and eventually got out into Barcelona, and now it's here in the States. It's basically a program built for scoliosis and curvatures of the spine, period. And it largely involves breathing. Shocker, right? And learning about how to activate your abdominal and then breathe into the areas of the curvature that are compressed. And if we're able to get that kind of better self-understanding of expansion and activation of those insides of the curve and that lengthening and posturing of the spine, and then use that with exercise, then we have a way to reduce or decrease the progression of a scoliosis curve or a kyphotic curve or a lordotic curve. And that's what Schroth essentially is.
Yeah. And I kind of, when I worked with you, I saw firsthand how it worked on the patients that you guys treated. And I remember going into the gym setting with kind of an understanding of how important breath work was, and seeing how newer trainers or newer hires were kind of that doesn't count. You're just lying down with your client. And it was a hard sell for a lot of people, but it's so important. And I think now more so than ever, I've been able to use that as a kind of a high point. I used to think that was the low point of the session, but it's probably the most important, because not only does it help the client get more activation out of their like core muscles while they're doing their training or their exercise, their sets. But also as a way to kind of like relax, because similarly to what you were talking about, people just breathe vertically and they don't breathe laterally, and they're just like almost hyperventilating for a large part of their day, right? And to be able to even have like whatever it's like 3 minutes, 5 minutes at the end of a session, or like throughout the whole session, just to focus on breathing, it really does help the client kind of feel better and move better, like instantly. It's incredible work.
Right. I think, on your point is that even from the PT end, it's a hard sell to say, hey, I want you to stop everything. I want you to lie down and think about this breathing. What we find as therapists, and you guys probably see this too, is that you get these guys that will come in, men and women will come in, and it looks like they have definition everywhere but their belly, right? They have control. They have these massive arms. These pecs look great, or their legs look fantastic. Yeah. But for some reason, they breathe through their stomach, and like, where's this missing zone of control? And it's because why? Because we lose those foundational pieces, and we're just kind of like we're hulking through it. Pull through, swing over, and you get these overly defined areas. And then you just put that in the face, like, well, that's why you have weakness here. Well, that's why you have pain here. So you say, well, I've never used that. It's never worked for me. Well, that's why you've never been out of pain. That's why you've never had development or strength here. Why you couldn't lift up that. Yep. It is that's how I would sell it. That's why you're like, okay, this is why. You're using it as ways to prove and not just believe me, trust me. You have to. It's all like give and take.
Yeah. That's powerful stuff, especially for a man who has like, initials before his name, right? Even if it's hard for you, it's definitely hard for us to kind of like sell that stuff.
Yeah. They're coming to me with the prescription, and they're still fighting. Like, I don't know, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy. At the end of the day, you're just trying to help them, though, right? But it's kind of refreshing to hear that for you also it's a hard sell, because I know right off the bat with some of the client base I have, they would buy into it and they feel it and they need it as well, and they know that. And then some are like, no, we can just go straight, and they overlook it. They don't see the importance. So it's kind of refreshing to hear that we're not the only ones in the profession struggling. I know based on what Angel's mentioned about you used to be a trainer at Equinox also, right, back in the day. So I wanted to ask, how, having been a personal trainer, how did that help you? How did it help set you up for your career in physical therapy?
Yeah, so, I spent about maybe a year doing personal training with Equinox, and it was right after grad school. I was really like, I need a job while I'm studying for boards. Personal training makes sense with my qualifications. And I was like, there was a part of me that was really like going through grad school, and at that time period, still today, let's be honest, even still today, PTs and trainers are like, oh, they don't know anything, But when, after going through the Equinox, I was like, man, these guys know a lot of stuff. Like, these guys would be great therapists if they wanted to be therapists, right? Now, at any rate, so what I found out of this was that after my experience in the clinical sense, when I was personal training, I found that it allowed me to think about really expanding my point of view about this person and their goals, right? So from medical sense, it is so easy for a medical professional to be very pinpoint, right? So here's your diagnosis. I'm going to treat you for this, and that's it. Shoulder pain, I'm going to do all the shoulder exercises I can think about. Good, shoulder's gone. Your foot pain, blah, 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 that's it, right? But it's not that question of why that happened. And so you can be the best reproducer of exercises in the world, and this person's going to maybe get better, but they're going to be back sooner than often. And at some point, hopefully, at some point, that person that you're treating says, why am I going to this guy? I haven't gotten any better because I'm still injuring myself.
Still pain, yeah.
Right. So it really kind of opened up that mindset to me, and the reality of the truth of why I went into this field, because I want to create that relationship and I want to be helping this person live a better life. And so that's how it affected my PT aspect. That's how I think about things now. to this very day. Everything is about, you got your pain. Why'd that happen? Let's make this better. Let's have you move better. It's functional movement. We're going to change the way you do it, and we're going to figure out why you did that wrong to begin with.
Right. And it's also fair to say that based on what we said, we'll find out why you're in that pain or what is it you're moving that caused it, right? And it's fair to say that every person moves different, right? Everyone's body type, genetics, physical makeup is so different. And then it also something that I find myself often talking to clients about is where you feel the pain isn't always a source, right? So that's where you mentioned when you do an analysis or when you do assessments and when you take, again, if it's pain in one thing and then it's pain somewhere else, like, is it one thing causing all this pain? Is it something different every time? And of course, sometimes it takes us as professionals to dig deeper into what they're doing. Like if you've been seeing someone for 3 months and they never told you they slept on their stomach, that could be a game changer, right? That can be, oh, that's exactly why your posture is the way it is, or exactly a big reason as to why it is. Kind of leads me to ask you into when you want to find, or when you want to find the best sources of information, of studies in the field, or just continuing education, where do you typically go to find that kind of information from?
Okay, so for the PT world, like we're constantly inundated with, like, we have to keep up with our continuing education, right? We literally, for our license, we need a certain amount of credits per year, every 3 years in New York. So you have to look at those courses specifically, usually, right? You want to make sure that you're getting that. So first and foremost, when you're looking for clinical education and credits, I look at these programs online. There's so many out there, but Evidence in Motion is a good one. Mike Reinold is fantastic, and he's a guy out in Massachusetts working with Boston, all the Boston teams, really good. That's Reinold, Reinold, awesome.
Nice.
For scoliosis stuff, if you guys ever want to look at that, there's a website called Scoliosis and Spine Online. And Scoliosis and Spine Online Learning. And it's a fantastic resource to understand how breathing and yoga and Pilates and all these other things can work together. It's a good source of systems. And the other thing for functional movement is what I've been looking at lately is movement links and the work that they're doing. And that falls into realms that you guys definitely have heard about in the last 5-6 years, right? And building upon that, and then when it really comes down to, like, the information that really, what's really out there, what's coming out new, it's social media. I mean, there's so much out there.
Yeah.
So you gotta do your own fact checking, but like,
yes, and what is valuable, right?
Yeah. But like, there are so many times that I'm on Instagram, YouTube. I'm just like down this rabbit hole. I'm like, oh my god! Like,
everyone's a trainer
that's
now.
A great idea, yeah.
Everyone's a PT now, and a trainer, and an IG.
That's the thing. You gotta decipher between someone who lost 10 pounds, which is, again, you always want to salute someone's made a change in their life and their body. That's great, but just because you lost 10 pounds does not make you certified or suitable person for training or fixing someone's injuries, right? Like it's being able to decide that. And unfortunately, we've spoken with previous guests on this as well, where sometimes the good content, the accurate and the scientific and the content that really helps you, like you said, breathing or back pain, isn't, quote, sexy, so it doesn't sell, so it doesn't get much exposure, right? But if you get someone who's half dressed doing squats, that'll get way more exposure, that'll get way more attraction. And that's where you're fighting. There's a bit of battle with that. And then like David said, like everyone proclaims themselves a trainer. And just because and the other thing as well is, just because you've been training for X amount of years doesn't necessarily make you a good trainer, right? That's fair to say that in any profession, just because you've been doing it for a certain amount of time doesn't necessarily mean you're the best or you're effective. So there's that too, but it's, your Instagram is like double-edged sword, right? You've got the good and the bad.
You got to get those detox. It helps, bro.
Yeah.
I did want to finally also ask, like, I've had a knee injury myself. That's just kind of, so I've had my fair share of physical therapy and different modalities and stuff, but and I worked a little bit as an aide, not like a very small window. So I know, Angel, that's how I met you, but what would you say is the hardest injury to rehabilitate and why, and what the challenges surrounding what that would be?
So I think that the hardest injuries are really not like, there aren't any like specific injuries that are the hardest, right? Because let's say, for example, in the PT world, right, you got surgeries, and then you have people that just come in with just general pain, right?
Right.
So if if anything, actually, that the perfect ACL, shoulder tear, those are easy. Honestly, they're long, they're expensive, but they're easy. They're not that complex in the sense of the knowledge that we have behind it, what we control.
And they're routine as well, you feel like.
Right. Like, I can do this, I know how to be creative on my exercise, do this, but that doesn't make it the hardest.
Gotcha.
The hardest injuries are the ones that aren't in your face, that they're so layered, like we were talking about with pain. Like, for example, you have someone that comes in with back pain that all they needed to do was probably not sit for 8 hours, right?
Right, and do some bridges or something.
Right, exactly. Like, all of a sudden, that's amazing, you're a miracle worker. Yeah, I'm a miracle worker. I found out gravity, like.
Yeah.
But if you take in this, bulging herniated disc, the guy that says he runs 3 miles every other day, running feels great. I was like, wait, he's running, but he has this problem where he's excruciating pain all day. But what's
running helps it, all that kind of feedback. Yeah.
Right. But then you look into further on, and again, history taking, you find out that he sits 12 hours a day. He's on business trips constantly. He's never home. He misses his kid. There are over layers, and then on top of it, oh, by the way, I've been on these opioids for 6 months and NSAIDs and antidepressants. Like,
changes everything, right? Yeah.
Right. So then now you're like, okay, let's start planning. And I think as trainers and PTs alike, we're always like, okay, we need to make habit changes.
Right.
We need to make actual habit changes, whether it's, down to how you eat, how you rest, how you sleep, all these things. And we're going to pick them apart. Even the littlest amount of change that is going to change how you feel. And for example, for that back pain person, my thing for them is like, I'm going to put an alarm on your phone, and it says, get your butt up and do this stretch for 2 minutes and go back to whatever monotonous thing that you're doing. Right? And that's it. It's like, if you don't do that, I don't know where I can help you.
Yeah, it's part of their, I really like you pointed that out, because I think we can all testify that we've all had clients where they'll tell you things that are key later on in the stages of diagnosing what might be the pain. And then the challenges or the barriers of trying to convince about modifying methods in their workout or lifestyle habits, right? So like you said, if it was someone who was traveling all the time, like, all right, so that means you're not sleeping in the same bed. You don't have a routine of when you're going to like eat. There's different foods. You can't control those elements. Like, look into the variables they can control. And as you quite rightly said as well, like, if you're not looking to buy in, you're coming to me for advice, for help, and you don't want to listen to me. I don't know what else there is to do, And I think that's sometimes the reinforcing factor I have when I also work with clients is, I'm not doing this because I hate you. I'm doing this because I want to help you. Like, I don't make you do that. Like, I reap what I sow. And when I give you this stuff, if, like, personally, if someone's had knee injuries, I feel so in my elements. All right, I firsthand have woken up where I don't really feel my leg for like half a day. And then I gradually rehabilitate. So I know exactly some of the pains and aches. So having been there myself, I know how to, again, it's not, but if you don't want to do it, I don't care. Like,
right.
That's on you.
We're selling our services, and we shouldn't downplay our expertise. And that it comes down to saying, look, I'm trying to help you out. And we know that your psychological state with this, and it really is not like you're crazy, but it's affecting you.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to change. We have to give you some wins, and this is how we're going to get you some wins. But if you're not willing to take that sacrifice, those small little sacrifices to get those wins, I'm sorry, I have other people waiting.
Yeah. Or like, you're telling me you want to do this, but you don't want to change this. So help me. Yeah. Help me meet, I'm trying to help you meet in the middle. So
I like the best thing that a client ever told me when it came down to her pain, and I was like, why is this happening? Why is this? She's like, I don't know. I was doing so well, and then she's like, I realized this. She came in one day. I realized, I'm sorry, I gotta admit this. I've been a perp. I was like, what do you mean you've been a perp? She's like, I'm a perpetrator. Like a guy stealing something. He's the cause of the crime. She's like, I'm the perp. Holy crap, I'm the perp. I'm the one that's sitting there like this. I'm the one that's not doing this. And I was like, amazing, amazing, you know. And that's it. She gained, you know, that clicking of the
Boom.
ownership, which is hilarious to me. That she's superb. But you know, that's great.
That's a really
You know,
funny way of saying it.
Yeah, it's probably also
Yeah.
like better that they figure that out too, right? Like you almost come to the conclusion, or you help them come to that conclusion versus like
Themselves, yeah.
accusing, right? Like saying like it's because you do this, it's because you do that, because that's also like not going to work hand in hand with the habit changes that need to follow up, right? Like if I realize I'm doing something versus like somebody telling me I'm doing something, if I realize, wow, the reason why my house is so messy is because I don't clean up after myself, right? I'm going to make that change versus somebody saying, oh, you know, your house is always messy, you should clean up more. It's like, no.
We all know that's not true, right? Because Angel's ridiculously clean.
No.
This was a bad example. It's a bad example.
I
I
think
think it's the same thing with clients that just go and bounce around between trainers. You know, it's like, well, this trainer isn't helping me out, and it's like, you just don't want to fucking do what I tell you to do. You know, It's like get the hell out of here.
Yeah, it's
David
like
would say that as well.
Yeah,
he would.
I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what do you want me to do? This is like, this is the thing. Working at Equinox, it has really made me sort of be like, I'm not taking this shit from people, you know, because in reality, I'm the type of person that does blame myself for shit. And I mean, and there's a point where I've had clients that are like, well, this still hurts. And I go home at the end of the day, I'm like, fuck, like, what the hell did I do? When in reality, at the end of the day, it's like, well, they aren't doing what I'm having them do. You know, yeah, it might be boring, but it's something that's going to help you, you know?
Yeah, we have to battle this thing. You know, people are always going to have complaints. It's bound to happen, but there has to be a point where it's enough, where you're confident in what you have, but not being overconfident. Obviously, we're respectful for their opinion. But when enough of the things that you know make sense is not working, so you know what? I've tried everything that I can possibly do as a professional, and that happens at times. Like I've done everything as a physical therapist as I can do for a person, and that if you haven't changed the habits that I know that are causing it, then I can't help you. But if you have changed the habits and I've done everything, then that's different. And then I'm going to refer you to someone who should be able to see you deeper, because I know I've thrown everything at you, right? And that's a big admitting thing, and it's also a big professional thing to do.
But they'd rather hear you say that, right? As opposed to you saying, it's on you. No, you're the one. Like if you can say, I've done everything I can. Unfortunately, there is someone who might be better qualified for this diagnosis and this kind of pain. And I think it's worth either working with them or seeing them instead of me. You know, like they'd rather hear you say that than saying, "Oh, it's on you. You're the one that's fucked up," or like, you know, like they'd rather just be as honest and transparent as possible.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even just about you. You can literally say that, like, look, I'm looking at this, but I've been looking at you for 8 months now, right? And it's still not making sense. Maybe I'm missing something. I want you to go see this person. They're physical therapists too, but maybe they can help you out. Maybe they're seeing something that I don't see. I've been talking with them about your case. You know, I've been talking about your case, but I think you can get better gains with this person, or you might get better gains. And if that doesn't work, then we need to, as a whole, think about talking about something else, a different route.
Cliff, so a pleasure to meet you. I mean, this has been very informative. I think this is great for a lot of our listeners to hear. I have a question. From my experience, you know, in terms of, you know, PTs, massage therapists, personal trainers, I've always felt that there's been a sort of a big line that cuts between chiropractors and physical therapists and massage therapists in terms of pain. Right. I mean, I know we've chatted about pain for quite a while now, but what's your view, I think, on people going to a chiropractor, you know, whereas going to a physical therapist where, you know, they could actually manipulate tissue? And, you know, I have my own opinion on it, but I want to hear what you have to say.
I think I come from a very open mindset of things, you know.
Yeah.
The reality is, reading Chinese, there's always this concept in the back of my head of herbology and acupuncture and things like that, you know. But we have to think of things more globally, and we can't be saying that we are the only ones that can treat things, right? As a whole, the field, for example, PTs, at least specifically, let's break that down, like chiros and PTs, right? I think that this is the problem with most of the medical field as a whole, is that we all overlap each other because it's impossible for us not to. We're working with the body, health, and fitness. There's no way we are not overlapping with each other in some way or form. And the problem is when one field says that they are the only ones to treat this area. And that's where we start to butt heads. And then that's where, on the legal standpoint, state to state, certain fields will fight for that all the way to the legal end, where I forget which state. I remember back in school, they were fighting to being the only person that could, the chiropractors in that state were going to be the only people that could treat low back pain, flat out. And which made no sense, which makes no sense at all, right? Beyond just PTs. Or they were the chiropractor PAC groups, political groups, were fighting to be the only people that can do manipulations, which, hey, whatever. Honestly, at the end of the day, I could do manipulation, doesn't mean it's always the right thing to do. And I think if more people are open to that, then things would work out better. PTs are good at what? As a PT, I'm good at looking at functional movement, giving you the exercises to get you better, looking at the body as a whole, right? A chiropractor is looking at the body as a whole, manipulating within for reasons to improve the systems to move more in line with each other, whatever way of systems that chiropractor wants to look at. But you can't tell me that, and here's the argument from one over the other, is that manipulation is going to lead to long-term benefits, because that person isn't learning something. There's a reason why they got into that misalignment. And a chiropractor is going to be great at putting them back into that alignment. I absolutely agree with that. There are a lot of fantastic chiropractors out there, but it doesn't mean that chiropractor is going to be teaching or doesn't have the time to teach that person that right movement. So that personal trainer, that acupuncturist is going to, that physical therapist is going to be there to do the other ends of all this, right? The massage therapist, I can do myofascial release, all day long. I do a lot of myofascial work combined with joint mobilization, but I can't spend every single treatment doing that because it just won't work out. I won't see the gains that I want to see. So then what do I need? I need to call up my massage therapist. I say, you need to go see so-and-so to help move you better so that these movements are going to actually work out, because you're just too restricted. And you're not going to dig into yourself enough to release that, or you can't dig into yourself enough to release that.
I think, this also answers one of the questions I've had is just there needs to be a big shift into a more holistic approach when it comes to healthcare and fitness, because like you just said, no one person can do everything. Everything has to come in. That's great. Another question, in the past, I would say 15 years, maybe the big increase in general barbell training, for example, CrossFit boxes has been huge in terms of getting people more confident and comfortable using barbells, and especially now that we're all, at home for the majority of the time, what are some tips that you can give people in order to maybe stay injury free, even at home, doing their own workouts?
I think that going back to what we were talking about before, it's this quality over quantity thing. You want to be able to feel X amount of burn and this amount of fitness and this amount of hey, my heart rate's going up. But if you don't spend out of your 5, 4, or 7 days a week, hopefully not, 24/7 of working out because you got to rest. But if you're not spending
that's Jacques
any
right there. He goes every fucking day. Doesn't take a fucking rest.
He's working out right now underneath that desk.
Starts judging you when you don't work out for a day.
Some leg extensions.
There's some leg extensions you guys should know about it.
It's like, oh, you got up at 9. You're lazy, right? Anyway.
Yeah,
pretty much.
You gotta take your form. Right? Form and quality is important. So if you want to be able to do that, the thing that's going to be for you to be able to truly succeed is to take the time to learn. Right? And if you are not finding the way to learning through your own Google searching, you better reach out to someone who can to at least guide you a little bit on your way, because you're just going to end up injured. You will.
Yeah. And it's big. And
if that's the case, it's cliffordyoungpt@gmail.com.
There you go. That's great. Again, also to respect your time, I do have one more question, and I think this is more. I think it's going to help everybody, I think, that's listening, but also to just, for me, what's your stance on unstable surface training when it comes to, injury and just, overall performance?
All right, so unstable surface training is variable, right? There's so many things out there. I mean, if you put someone on an AirX pad, a little spongy pad, that is going to give them a better, recruitment of basic understanding of center of balance, right?
Okay.
But if you train them constantly on like, what was that, the shake plate stuff? What was that from Reebok, or I forgot what it was called, power plate?
Power plate. Yep.
Power plate, right? So, there are numerous studies on the validity of how strong your core got, but if you take that same person and put them on a slippery field, the power plate isn't going to help them on that slippery field. Right? There's no overlay to that. You're improving some of this quick motor response, but it's not the end all, and it's not the beginning at all either, right? I think what it comes down to is that unstable surfaces are only a fraction of the step to the reality of the thing that people need to train to, right? And that this goes back to our concepts of functional training. There's no way you're going to tell me that this major league player is going to be able to cut and weave after ACL training all because of that power plate. No way. The only way they're going to learn their training is once they get on that field after all that strengthening to improve that reaction time. That's the only way that's
or LeBron squatting, barely getting amazing, have not even quarter squatting, and him being the fucking beast in the basketball court.
Yeah. We just need a couple of those in genetics, and if we could shock them into everyone, we'd be rich men. Guys.
That's what I was saying. That's the big thing that I tell a lot of people. I think whenever they do, and I think I've mentioned this on the podcast, back in the earlier episodes. I think when somebody looks at LeBron and is saying, "Hey, he's squatting like this, and yet he is dominant, right, in the court. He is such a specimen." One thing that I say is, just because LeBron James is squatting that high does not mean that you should be doing that.
That does not necessarily translate to him being successful on the court, right?
Right? And and the biggest thing that I always hear is like, "Oh, but this person is doing this. Oh, but that person does it like this. Oh, but," and I think as personal trainers, we definitely have to, and physical therapists, I think just education wise is the biggest thing to help somebody come to a conclusion of what it is that they need to be doing.
Right. I think the thing that we need to convey out there is that, okay, we have athletes, like specimens of their field, man. These guys are fantastic, right? But they didn't get there overnight. They did have the genetics to do it, but then they did extra, right? And they took that time, and now they are there. This is their job. That's the other thing. This is their job. Is this your job? No. So don't try to do their job.
And not get paid for it.
Yeah, people don't think about that. It's so simple, but they forget that it's their job. It's literally their job to play well.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You think LeBron using compression cuffs is going to be the thing that made him? No. It's right down to those electric stim ab roller things that they used to have back in the day. Like, yeah, this is going to make me perfect. Like, no. Nothing. There is no easy.
There's no shortcut for it. Yeah.
To strength and fitness, there is nothing. There's nothing. It's all hard work.
Yeah. Even for general fitness, I think, right? It's like if somebody just wants to generally be athletic or whatever that means, right? I mean, but also just generally fit, I think a safe approach is always the best to some extent, unless you're trying to go pro, right?
Right. Look, even in the elderly sense, in a large population of elderly that I've treated, that the thing that they needed to be able to do, because they're like, how come I can't walk this much? I can't get up from here to there. It's like, because you haven't. Oh, how come I can't pick up this from the floor? Like an elderly, I can't pick up this from the floor. Well, can you get out of that chair? No, I have to do it this way. Well, if you can't get out of that chair, there's no way I'm letting you go down to that floor. So you have to put the work in. If you don't put the work in, you can't expect the other work to follow.
True.
100%.
Yeah, man. Thanks,
all right.
Man. This is very informative. This is amazing.
No, this was great.
Yeah, it was great, guys. I had a great time. I wanted to mention, by the way, I have the least interesting name among all of you guys here. Like, mine is bland. Mine is like underbred. Like,
I never thought of it like that, but yeah, you're right.
I was like, you guys, really, seriously, I could hear it announcing each one of your names, and they go, oh, this guy Cliff Yun. I'm like, oh, come on.
Damn, dude.
With that said, try to, is there anywhere that people can find you? What's the most popular place that people can find you? And are you, feel free to plug any upcoming projects or anything like that you have going on.
Yeah, at this point, you can reach me at, again, Clifford Yun, YUNPT @gmail.com. Also at cliffpt.com. Instagram, Clifford Yun PT. And you could probably find me on YouTube. Just search Clifford Yun. I'm the only Clifford Yun on social media at this point, as far as I know. The only other guy is like 50, and I'm pretty sure he's not doing this stuff.
Yeah, those copyrights.
Hey, man, that's like your name is unique, man. It's easy to find you. If I type in my name, a fucking photographer from Canada comes up. I'm like, who the hell is this fucking guy?
I got a designer. I'm a designer in New York. He's New York based. On his shit. Yeah,
I got no one, so I'm pretty.
Your name doesn't mean shit.
So. There you go. See, no one can say it to begin with, so it's okay.
All right, Cliff. Well, thank you so much for your time, and hopefully we can get you on the podcast later as well.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be great, dude.
Absolutely. Had a great time, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Cliff. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care, man. Thanks.
Take it easy. Cool.
All right. So that about sums that portion up.
Big announcement coming up.
All right. Go ahead, David. What's the announcement?
thetrainerfeed.com. Check us out.
Our website
is live.
Our website is live. Yes, finally. Our website is live. So feel free to check it out, thetrainerfeed.com. And yeah, it was great to have Cliff on for this episode. Like I said before, we worked together previously in a physical therapy facility. And it's cool because this kind of gave me the opportunity to reach back out. I know that he was working on a couple of projects, doing a newsletter for some of his patients on Facebook. So took that opportunity to kind of I saw it and I was like, let me reach out, see what's up. And then also, see if he could come on the podcast. So it was good.
Yeah, I'm glad he was able to join us. That was really good to hear how it's a hard sell for him with breathing and patience, because I think that's always something I've struggled with as well, with, people, if someone can just talk through a whole set and that's not prioritizing the breathing, and just it's good to know that more professions besides ours, even though it's pretty closely related, have the same issue, And again, it's overlooked. And I think that would be something that if we got him on again in the future, if he was able to dive into the Pilates or even just general breathing works with certain exercises, right? Like when to inhale, when to exhale, when to brace, which sounds all very simple and non-complex, but it can make a difference between an effective brace and a very demanding movement, can't it?
Yeah. I mean, I did, so after listening to Stuart McGill, and then obviously, working in the PT facility where I saw them do the deep breathing exercises for Schroff therapy, I looked into a couple of different types of breathing and how to what exercises were breathing exercises. And there's a lot more. I know we've done belly breathing or crocodile breathing, but there's also box breathing and alternate nostril breathing. So it's a lot of different exercises that people use, not only to pretty much.
You would say that.
That looks like something else, dude. Come on, we can't do that.
I mean, it's with something. It's something else, but no, it's like that. It's like that. So alternate nostril breathing, but it actually is pretty tough. And you don't think about it. And it's just oh, how hard is it to breathe? I don't want to sit here and breathe for the whole session, but it's if it helps you get rid of pain, if it helps you get more core activation, if it helps you maintain your posture, even digest better. There's so many different things that breathing does for us. Then it's kind of something that we need to address and put on the forefront. And I think as personal trainers and I guess physical therapists as well,
it'd be great if everybody
we need to educate. Say that again.
It'd be great if, every client, I think the majority of people that we all train have a great sense of that, because at the end of the day, that's why we love them as clients. But, I've had an experience with a client, I think him, Jacques, where I'm I was being honest with him. I'm dude, I'm not going to waste your fucking time, because he wanted a certain thing. And I'm just dude,
Yeah, I know
we
him.
gotta
Yeah.
do X, Y, and Z, and he's just, you know, and it was more of like,
And it was difficult for me too.
I want to
He
get
had-
shredded. I want this. I'm like, bro, like, come on. I don't know.
I know the client, and it wasn't easy for me either. Like he came in and he wanted it's a scenario where the client wants a program given to them and not
Exactly.
trained. And
Oh,
it
I
was
see what you're
like,
saying.
well, I'm not going to prescribe anything because one, I don't get paid.
Yeah.
Right.
Two, that's not how it works. So the point
Yeah.
of coming to train of us is so that we guide you. We have a program specific for you.
We were
guide
gonna
you through
train
it.
with. He was gonna train with 2 people or 3.
Wow.
He was gonna train because I told him what I could offer him. I said, dude, I could give you X, Y, and Z, right? You know, but I can't do all this other stuff. And it was you know, like emails back and forth of I want to, you know, I could help you with this, but there's another person gonna help you with this.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it just never worked.
Which
I'm glad. I'm glad it didn't.
Yeah,
work. I didn't want to.
we shouldn't honestly. Each one of us here, for example, has like different specialties, right? And it's not a crime for us to say, I'm not the best person for your training. It's not
Right.
like I think we're competent enough and we're knowledgeable enough that we could take on pretty much any client.
Yeah.
But that's not to say if there was someone that was looking for something so specific that wanted the best person in that field, that we can happily admit there's someone who might be better equipped to help that person get to those goals. Like marathon running, right? For me and David, probably
Dude,
not.
I had somebody that said I want to be a marathon runner. I'm like, bruh.
Look at David, the powerlifting.
I can't run a mile. Like, come on. I mean, I can
David
run a mile,
runs to the subway
still.
and that's it, right? Like, whereas Angel crushed that 30 miler, like, you know, like it was nothing.
I
So
help you squat 300 pounds.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean,
and that's the thing, and that's the beauty of each kind of trainer and each trainer's specialty. So that's definitely not anything wrong. That's just part of the nature of it.
Yeah, definitely.
But before we wrap things up, what's everyone got planned this weekend? Because we did say we were going to try and do some content, videos and photos.
Yeah,
and
I
shit.
think.
So I
Yeah, I
cleared
think
up
we
the
did say
camera.
that.
I got space in the camera now, so
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So
You
we
deleted
definitely
all
got to
those
get
nudes?
that done.
never had
Oh.
news, bro.
All right. Well, we got a lot of stuff done, but this
Dumb.
week has been a little bit wild, and even today, like it's literally like I could see it through my windows.
Yeah.
It's almost like a tundra. So apparently, a tropical storm has been rolling through, and it just made its way to New York.
this isn't a tundra, bro.
It's very active, very.
So
present.
maybe you're going
Yeah,
on
right. It's not a
till
tundra.
9
This ain't a
p.m.
tundra.
or
I can't-
I would rather it be a tundra.
Nah.
Nah,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Nah. You see,
I
wouldn't.
hate when it's raining like this.
You see, he would rather it be a tundra, but I hate the cold. So like, it's still 70 degrees out. It's just like
Doesn't feel that hot though. outside.
30 mile an hour winds and a whole bunch of rain.
Yeah. It's a monsoon.
It's a monsoon. You're right. Good one.
I don't know.
David.
Anyway.
Mr. Worldwide.
The other thing I will say, being in the city,
Mr. 305.
being back in the city is the lack of tourism is unfortunately showing some of the great populations of homeless people in the city, which is really unfortunate. I think they just blend in usually when tourists are here, but there's a couple of characters a little unsettling, so you being mindful of that. I've noticed this. It's kind of sad, right?
Like a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a sad situation.
You're in Hell's Kitchen, so it's like I had a buddy of mine that lives in Hell's Kitchen. He says it's fucking wild, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, I went down there. It was pretty wild. I went down there like a month ago. That was before even you came back. And
Yeah.
it was not okay.
like
Times Square
on-
area, all that stuff.
Yeah, so
It's bad.
between 8th Avenue, whenever me and Alex go downtown, we go up 8th Ave because we live off 8th Ave, and between 37th Street and like 43rd, 44th, and Port Authority is right there as well. And Port Authority, a lot of people just hang out there anyway.
Yeah.
But the AC is on like super cool. So even when you go past, like, oh shit, that's cold.
I'll tell a
And
guy,
that's
be like,
cold.
yo, let me sit down next to you for a little bit, get some of this cool air.
It's man, it's scary, but it's.
Yeah.
I definitely feel the city's getting a lot busier now. Like it's kind of
Yeah, it
yeah.
is.
like retail stores are open. Alex is back working like 3-4 days a week at Lulu.
It's scary. I don't know how to feel about
it's
it.
scary.
You know, part of me doesn't agree with it, but part of me does. Another part of me is like, I don't know.
The economy needs something, right? Like the
Yeah,
economy
yeah.
needs some reboot a little bit, and it's nice to see. Like whenever but I'll be honest, right? Like it's kind of odd to remember going out without a mask. Like it feels so long ago now, and whenever I see anyone whenever I see someone with a mask down, I'm like, all right, they've got it on them, they've got their hand. But like when I see someone with no clear indication of wearing a mask, I'm like, It's because of motherfuckers like you.
I saw it.
You're going to delay that shit.
To me 2 days ago. I was on the Upper West Side walking, and this guy's coming down the block. I have my mask, sweating my balls off. Like, it was fucking hot as fuck. I was sweating like crazy. And then this guy's just walking down. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, David.
And like, yeah, it was moist and damp. But the thing is, he's just walking down without a mask. And the first thing in my head is like, this fucking guy. Like, because right now I think the mask wearing has become a political statement, unfortunately. Like, it has become, you wear a mask, you associate with this. You don't wear a mask, you associate with that. And rather than it being like, just wear a mask to be, for common courtesy, be courteous to everybody else.
Like, personally, I've never feared. Maybe I'm being super naive and thinking if I ever got it, I'd be fine, because I know it's really affected some people. But I like, as most people, I think are doing it because I just don't want anything to spread. And the sooner, I saw a really good statement from an NFL. Oh no, it was a college football player. He says, "Put your masks on so I can put my helmet back on sooner." Right? Because the sooner you put your masks on, the sooner like things like sport. Right, but it's a good point. And it's, I don't know when sport, like,
I mean, even we can get back to work, right? Like, everybody can get back to work.
It's going to be a little, I personally, when gyms open, I really think I will do my sessions and just work out from home or outside, as long as the weather's nice, just to help that kind of environment, I think that that's just my take. And
the biggest thing when people go into, like, you see videos of people going into places and they're like, "I'm sorry, you need to wear your mask."
And you're pissed off, you've been told to wear one.
I woke up in a free country. I'm like, bro, that's not the fucking point.
It's not about that, exactly. It's not about being a free country. It's about us collectively coming together, putting this on, helping kill the spread. But this is the problem, right? Those people in Florida are like, "Oh, I believe it's a thing against we should all be able to breathe." And it's like, it's not about being able to fucking breathe.
There is a guy that says, like, who gave you the right to regulate my God-given breath, my God-given right to breathe? I'm like, dude.
So let's
get me riled up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's get back into business stuff. So what do you guys got planned for this weekend? And also, guys, we will put out content like as a group. We just have to wait till the monsoon goes away, and then we'll be outside and all.
Be able to see my body swing them kettlebells. Don't worry, guys.
So
it's coming up.
What's the plan for the weekend,
David?
Well, right after this, I got to work out.
That means
the weekend. Yeah. Oh yeah. Naps are important.
Regeneration is key.
Yeah. I got to swing the bell like twice, and then that's it, right? But no, I'm going to my parents this weekend, so that's about it.
Celebrate your father's birthday again?
I was there yesterday. Yeah. So.
That was a genuine question.
His birthday again? Like, how
my dad has a birthday twice.
No,
how's that a legit question?
No, like if sometimes
Zach,
you celebrate your birthday during the week, and the weekend there's more people to celebrate with. That's
Baby Yoda didn't like that. Baby Yoda don't like this.
Nah, man. It's like, hey, it was a small thing. Now it was not a shot.
That was a shot. You said his dad got two birthdays,
bro.
His dad's so old.
Why are you talking about my dad like that, bro?
Double, triple digits, man. You got two birthdays.
No, we're just hanging out.
Nice.
All right, Jacques, what are you doing this weekend?
Band work.
Yeah, I know. Saturday. No, I'm at the Dewitt Clinton soccer / softball park.
Turf.
They have turf. Yeah, they have, I'll say, football posts, not soccer goal posts, which was able to kind of re-add pull-ups into my game. Dude, I hadn't done pull-ups since the whole quarantine, and like that was a struggle getting back into it. But I'm probably gonna do that. I'm trying to think what else I had to do this weekend. Oh man, I gotta figure out this unemployment shit, because this is getting me a little rattled that I'm not able to do it. That, and then what else? Shit, something else. Find these mosquitoes, man. Last night, this one was just eating me the fuck up. I was sitting down, and I had like a big target on my arm. I was like, this motherfucker. Guess what? I didn't find him until this morning. So he got me probably like about 6-7 times last night. Just one.
I'm surprised, knock on wood, I haven't been demolished
by
the mosquitoes.
You're lucky,
yet.
Man. This is perfect
and
weather for them as well.
I'm big on it. They fucking just destroy me.
Fucking A. And if you have laundry like drying in your apartment as well, perfect for them. This weather, laundry drying, perfect. Angel, what about you? What's this weekend?
I'm just chilling out. I have to. I got to train one client. Typically, I have the weekends off, but because of this monsoon weather, I had to
He's called
train a
off.
client. Yeah, because we started doing like social distancing training outside.
Same. Yeah.
And so today it was just a dub for that. So I'm gonna get it started tomorrow. And then while I'm out there, I might do some videos or something like that. I've been working on what's the move that you call with like a kettlebell? It's like a high pull.
Yeah, high pull swings.
Yeah, high pull swings. I've been doing some of that because Lynn had told me that helps with the snatch. So I've been trying to snatch. I can
Who?
snatch the 24s. Lynn, she was part of our Tier X group. She works at
Part of what? T-Rex?
It's a drill that I like to do. It's like the elevator drill. It's like a single arm swing,
Mhm.
single arm, high
Oh,
pull, and then you finish it off in the snatch.
yeah, you do.
Ah.
I've seen that one. So you go low. I've seen it where you kind of do like 3 heights, right? Where
Yeah.
it's kind of like chest height, like about nose, eye height, and then you finish with the snatch.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's all the snatch is, right? It's like a single arm swing, but
Yeah.
at some point you
To
gotta
a
like,
punch.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
gotta be
Well-
nice and close.
So I'm trying to do so I
not.
can do the 24. The 24s are a little bit choppy, but I can do it. And I'm trying to do it with
What,
the
both of them
20.
at the same time?
No, just one.
Oh, I
Just
was gonna
one.
say, damn.
About
Nah,
to
yeah,
say,
that's-
damn, bruh.
No, my
Damn,
shoulders.
bro.
I need to get my shoulders up because the other day I tried to do something stupid, and I snatched way too heavy. I think it was either I tried to do the 28 or I tried to do both 24s, and I felt like my shoulders were about to dislocate. And I was like, no, we're not doing that again.
You gotta
First
do
of all, it
arm
was
bars,
choppy.
man. Do your arm bar.
arm bars.
All right, so I'll do that. So I'll
your
do
arm
some
bar.
videos on that.
Oh,
Press.
and
We're
windmills.
gonna get
Windmills
them
are,
done on the rooftop
Oh, the rooftop. We could do that.
let's do it. Would you guys want to work out tomorrow?
tomorrow. What time?
Don't make excuses, David. I didn't even tell you what time.
No, I mean I got shit to do, bro. Like fuck, I can't. I'm not
He's
gonna.
got shit to do.
I gotta plan my day out.
What are you doing
Yeah,
tomorrow?
let's
besides
Don't
working
worry
out?
about it. I just gotta plan my day out.
I think anytime. I don't know. Like I can do what time? I don't have any clients tomorrow, so
I can in the afternoon.
You can't in the afternoon. I'll be
I
done.
have a tentative client sometime in the morning and 2. I think 2. So it depends on what time.
All right, this ain't happening this weekend. But we'll figure it out.
We just got the thing.
We're gonna
Though,
figure it out
this
next
is our
week.
problem. This is our problem. And I've
What's our
noticed
problem?
this
3 different
in
schedules.
all of our interactions when we try to plan shit. It's like
Mm.
we never come to a fucking conclusion.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, we always give each other our dates and shit and times, but we never come with like a definite time. So we got to do that. We got to try it out.
He ain't wrong.
And then last week we thought it was gonna rain, and ultimately it didn't.
Wednesday. What? You're right. Wednesday we were
Yeah.
going to try and do it, and then it was like,
So how about this? I mean, we could talk about it off air too, but
yeah.
let's just talk about it
For our
off air to
listeners,
spare
see what
No,
Everybody.
everybody.
plans.
full transparency. Fuck this. Let's
No,
go.
no, no. Let's do it offline. We'll do it offline because it's gonna take a while and nobody really cares what our schedule's like or when we're gonna
Yes, they
swing
do.
They
kettlebell.
should.
They just
Should
care
fucking-
about
they should,
listening
man.
to our guest, and they also care about like our input. That's about it.
This is our input on our lives.
So we're gonna wrap it up. Stay tuned. So follow us on YouTube or subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. Feel free to follow us on Instagram. Make sure to like this video on YouTube, and then also like our post on Instagram. More content is coming up, so stay tuned for that. Also check out the website, thetrainerfeed.com, for more information on everything else. And thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.